Well, good morning, everybody. This is Richard Wishart. This is Cam's Hour, 9 o'clock every working day. And today the topic is the topic is either Periscope, Blab, or Blether. So that's the what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about some new kids on the block when it comes to broadcast technology. So here is the screenshot this morning is a Blab from yesterday. The Periscopes are online. There's two Periscope Blabs yesterday. One was fairly civilized, and this is the civilized one. And then there was one that was not quite so civilized. I might show you some shots of that later. Maybe not. But this is like, hi Grant, good to see you. I'm just talking about Periscope, Blab, or Blether. And this was a Periscope's Blether from yesterday. It was the more civilized one. I might not show the other one, but I might. Hi, Les Melville. Yeah, it's good. So that's my big question for this morning. It's Periscope, Periscope, Blab, or Blether. So here we go. So I'll turn you around. Oh, if you haven't seen the Blab concept, you have four people on screen. The person in the top left is running the event, and you have some tweets that went out beforehand on the left hand side, and on the right hand side you have comments, and then you have people who are in the call along the top. So it is a trend that's beginning to take off. I'll cover that in a bit more detail in a minute, but let me just swing the camera around. Here we are. Welcome to Cambridgeshire. It should be a good day today. It's a little bit overcast at the moment, but we're looking forward to a good day. I think the rain will kick in tomorrow, which is a bit of a shame for August. But it's great that you can join me on this Cam's Hour. As I say, the reason I've been... let me introduce myself. My name is Richard Wishart. I'm an enterprise architect. I live in Cambridgeshire. I've got my own business called Delivery Management, which I've been running for about 10, 11 years now. And as I say, an enterprise architect. I use social media for my work. So I'm not a social media expert, but I'm a very active user of social media, and I know how it all works. And this summer, I'm just experimenting. I'm experimenting with some of the new technologies that are coming out. Periscope. I'm now on my 55th broadcast, which is pretty cool. And I'm also experimenting with Katch, and I'm also experimenting with the Blab concept. Now, Blab I've done. I came onto one accidentally. I've gone into another couple yesterday, so I've been on for about a day. And today I've scheduled my own one, which you're welcome to join in on, at 10 o'clock. So some big changes, some big opportunities coming up for people on this whole... I'm trying to work out the best way to describe it, but it's instant video. So it could be something like instant casting, or it's just something very new. It's not particularly. You've been able to do videos for a long time. I've been on Hangouts on Air on Google for quite a long time, probably about 4 years. I did a big. I've been using that for quite a long time, but it's got complicated. The Hangouts is quite difficult to get people onto because they've got some technical stuff to get through before they can get on, and then the control of it is quite complicated. And I can do it, but it's difficult getting other people onto the Hangout with you. So this does seem to be fairly revolutionary. This is being able to get on instantly, and it's almost like, so it's instant video, it's immediate video. It's people from all different channels, all different platforms being able to get online simultaneously. So you can get online on Periscope, on your phone, on your tablet. Periscope's not so good on the big screen, but they've got Periscope TV, which might come along. So it's a small device type concept. Whereas Blab has taken a very different view. It's sort of come from the large screen concept, so on your PC. But you could also, I think they've got an iPhone, an iOS app, but I can do it on my Android tablet. So I can do it as a it's not a bit, but what I'm trying to do today is not really about promotion. It's just really trying to open things up and get people's views on what's happening, because I think it's quite a big change, and I think it's tough for people to properly understand the opportunity that this brings, and just how radical it all is. It's I heard a very good expression yesterday. I mean, listening, you've got to, on these new media things, as it's changed, you've got to listen in as well as just pontificate. If you're just somebody that broadcasts, that's not what it's about. It's about engagement. I'm probably talking too much actually on this, but you can tell I'm excited. The big thing really between the difference, I think, between Periscope and Blab is that Periscope is your outside broadcast. It allows you to go out with your camera, with your phone, into some nice places and give your perspective on things. So I feel like it's you as your roving reporter out in the world, speaking to the world. Oh, hi, Luana. Great to have you on board. Now I'm talking this morning about this whole phenomenon that's hitting us, which is Periscope, and then there's some other ones. There's Katch, and there's There's Periscope, there's Katch, and there's Blab, and I guess there's going to be others as well. I suspect when the other big organizations wake up to the fact that this is now revolutionizing social media, then you're going to have people like LinkedIn, the revamped Google Plus, and Facebook are all going to have a shot at the action, and you're going to see some other players come in. Yeah, no, this is exactly and that's the point. This is exactly the right time for anybody who wants to have a punt at this and be an early adopter and be a shaper for the way that this will develop, because I think it will be huge. Some of the people who get into this stuff and do it early are going to be real winners on this. So you saw at the beginning, I showed the very sort of posh picture of the Periscops doing a formal Blab yesterday. They also did an informal one. So when you hear about things about funny hats, and we had a first comedy show. There was a first comedy show on Blab yesterday, and it was done by the Periscops. That's not bad, is it? I wasn't able to take in the live one, but I watched it on replay. I watched it several times on replay, by the way. It's really good. But this is it's revolutionary. So you can get people on from all over the world onto this instant video. I think it's instant. I like instant. It's video, so it's actually not traditional social media, which has been text. And you've got almost Blab. Well, Blab is a brand new one, Luana. I'm running a Blab at 10 o'clock this morning. So it's blab.im, and it comes up on screen. It comes up on screen. It comes up on my my Chromebox, large screen television, and you have 4 people on the broadcast, and you have a very lively discussion. And people can come in and come out. It's a bit like Hangouts on Air, but it's so much simpler. It's easier, far simpler to do. So if you want to join me on the on blab.im at 10 o'clock this morning, I'm doing my first scheduled broadcast. I've got onto a broadcast accidentally. That was my first one. I went in and I realised I was up on screen. And then I've been on 2 or 3 yesterday, which were really good, just as an audience, as a participant. And I've listened into a couple as well. But I've actually scheduled one yesterday. So I've got scheduled, collaborative and Periscope. When you're doing Periscope, as I'm doing at the moment, I love it. I've done about 55 broadcasts now on Periscope, but you do feel until you start getting some interaction, you feel a bit stupid. You're sitting in your dining. I'm sitting here in my dining room at my dining room table. I've prepared the room. I've got all the lights on. So I'm in a production studio. I'm a producer. I'm a director. I'm an anchor. I'm trying to do to stick to a content, and I'm managing an audience. I'm a fluffer. I'm trying to get the audience engaged, and it's just so much hard work. And you are so vulnerable as a someone who's broadcasting. And I think people, yeah, no, it's. I think it's tough if you're doing broadcasting as on Periscope. It's quite a hard gig, but I do enjoy it, and I think I'm over the early sort of reticence of doing it. So I'm quite happy to put my face out there, quite happy to engage, and I like engaging. You've got to, really. I think Blab is a little bit easier. I think but it does actually demand that you take a collaborative approach. And I think the real trick about Blabs is, one, obviously you've got to keep on topic, you've got to keep it interesting, you've got to have engagement. But what you can do is you can share the workload. So you can maybe have somebody who's running the Blab, someone else comes on and is managing the comments that come up and actively sort of monitoring those and bringing those into the attention of the people who are speaking. So you can actually run it like a little collaborative effort, and you get people, you get some strangers on, but you also get people that you know on, and you actually manage the experience, and you control. Well, you don't control it because these things are not really that controllable. They are dynamic and they will develop, but you've got to go with the development. But you've got to have some structure and you've got to have some purpose to what you're doing. So I think Blab has those elements. I think to me, it's almost like the Periscope is the outside broadcast. Blab is the studio, but the studio is a nice, simple studio. It's easy to get onto, and it's easy to engage. So that's the news on the streets, guys. There's now there's Periscope, and there's Blab, and there's another little add-on which is Katch. I'm not absolutely sure about Katch, but Katch is a way of actually sending your Periscope stream to a video, which anybody can then watch afterwards. That's a nice, easy way of doing it. So I think you're going to see a lot of evolution of all these little tools. I was really surprised yesterday. I was on Katch. We got we mentioned, no, not Katch, on Blab. I'm getting confused with these. But on Blab, we got one of the ladies who's in the development team. She's like the external PR person on the development team. And she was explaining about the company. She wouldn't tell me how many people were on Blab yet. That's a closely kept secret. The software is still in beta, but clearly it's live. It's a very small development team. I think the development team runs into 10, 15, maybe even 20 people, and a very small number of those are developers. And they've just taken a sort of side swipe at the Google Hangout concept. They looked at Google Hangout and they said, well, how can we do this better? And then they couldn't work out how to do it because it was just quite complicated. So they actually then said, well, we'll step back and we'll try and do it in a very different way. And I think they've done quite a good little job on it. So I like it. I've seen people talk about. I've seen people talk today about should I now stop doing Periscope and move to Blab? And some people are talking about that, but I'm not sure that's necessarily a good idea. I think the two probably sit together, because what you get with Blab, although Blab is still linked to Twitter in a way, it's not a Twitter product, it's not part of the Twitter group. So I think you're going to see the experience of Twitter coming through a lot more in Periscope. So you're going to see a lot more of the big professional style stuff. But the new kid on the block is Blab. I just wish they'd think of a better name. So you got tweets and blobs and blags and I thought yesterday, I did a little scope yesterday and I thought it was good. We have an expression. There was an expression that I was brought up with when I was born in Edinburgh. My mum and dad used it all the time, and my granny used it as well. It was to have a wee blether. So maybe there's a thing for the Periscope to actually invent a brand new video streaming tool called the Blether, and to have a wee blether. And that's what it is. It's social. Let's have a wee chat. Let's have a little discussion. Let's get together. Let's have a. And the big thing that I haven't talked about yet is I've talked about the platforms. So your Periscope, your Katch, your Blab. That's not the big deal. The big deal is the difference in terms of engagement. So, and that was where the let me just do this one again. I've kept it clean, guys, but let's just flick you around. So this is, so this was the professional scope from the Periscopes yesterday, and that was fantastic. So this was the Periscopes Blether yesterday, and then they did what was absolutely fantastic. I don't know whether I've got any of the. Let's just see if I've got any of this. If you're up for this, I'm sure they won't mind. Let's just have a little play. So we did this. So this was we have one of the Periscopes is this guy up on the top left, and he is he's out in Vietnam at the moment. He's got himself a challenge to broadcast from every country in the world, and he's a motorcycle. He was on his motorbike in Cambodia and Vietnam, etc. So anyway, he set, and he's a good social media guy, really good, and he set up a blab, which was the rambling of a Scotsman in Vietnam. And what he didn't realise was that all the Periscopes, so you can see them all there, or some of them, they went for it big time, and I was absolutely creasing myself. And he was as well. This poor guy had no idea what was going to happen, and it was just a complete Periscope route on here, and it was fantastic. So well done, guys. I thought it was absolutely brilliant, really good. So you can see how addictive the whole thing is. It really is absolutely bonkers. Really bonkers. But so I'm doing a scheduled session on Blab this morning at 10 o'clock. Some of the advantages are against the Periscope is that you can schedule it. So I scheduled this one yesterday. So it has a definite URL link for the actual event. You can promote it in advance, and I'm already putting up some comments on the thing. You get a countdown on when you go into it to show how long it will be before it actually goes live. And when you're in the broadcast itself, you can save the video, and you can save the video just by right-clicking the screen, which is quite clever. So it's a brand new concept. It's quite neat. It's quite clean. It's quite sharp, and I think they might struggle with volume when more people actually understand what this sort of thing is about. And I think they might also struggle with competition, because I cannot believe that the large organizations like LinkedIn, Facebook, Google Plus or Google are not going to respond in some way. They've got to. The world has changed. They've been disrupted. And if they don't react to that disruption, they're going to lose it. So they're going to have to react to this disruptive influence that's now about. So, what do you think, guys? Are you a Periscoper? Are you interested in blabbing? Do you think this concept has some life in it? I'd like to hear your views. What do you think? Let's open up the discussion a bit. Have you tried Blab? Have you tried Periscope? I think it's a big deal. I really do. I think it's a big deal. I think it's. I think it's a time where if you're into this sort of stuff, then now's the time to make your name, because this is starting up. Nobody is an expert. Nobody is you get people who've come across, say, from Google Plus or whatever, and they look like experts, but they're as lost as anybody else because no one's actually done this stuff before. It's the Wild West, and if you're out there staking your claim and setting up your ranch and establishing yourself, you're in a really good position to take advantage of what will be a huge change. So I'm using the summer really to experiment and to play and to grow my connections and maybe do some collaboration and some cool stuff. And I've still got a very staid audience on LinkedIn. I'm just wondering how on earth I bring them across, but I think I'm certainly trying that. Good. So main thing really this morning, as I say, I'm not gonna run this beyond its life, but it's this social media world is changing. The world of instant is now happening, and I don't know whether the word is broadcasting, because broadcasting means you're sending something out like a television. This is anything but a television. So you're getting your broadcast out really quickly. You on Periscope, you're communicating well, and you're getting you get feedback through the screen. And if you're not engaging with the feedback, then you're not developing your scope. That's something I'm not particularly good at. I'm not particularly good at rabble rousing, getting things going and moving, and being sort of punchy, which you've got to be on this. But there's some people who do it really well. People like Alex Pettit. I think he manages really large numbers. So on Alex's scope the other day, I saw there was 1,500 people, and he was managing them. He was getting them going. He was putting up comments, getting up hearts, engaging them in one. But it was like the 5 things you need to know about Periscope. Well, okay, that's interesting. And some of the stuff he comes out with is really interesting. It's a very limited scope. And of course, everybody on Periscope is interested in how to do extra things with Periscope. So you've got like a natural audience. But if I start talking about express logistics, it's just going to turn everybody off. So I've got to try and work out a better way of doing it. And I think this is where I think that oh, hiya. I'm from Puerto Rico. Great to have you on board. Now, we're just pontificating. We're just having a think about, you got Periscope, you've got Blab, which has just come about, and I'm running a Blab at 10 o'clock this morning, which is a brand new way of doing it with 4 people on the screen, so a bit more collaboration, interaction, and Katch. So there's a number of tools from more independent, although Periscope comes from Twitter. The other big social media players haven't engaged yet, and if they don't engage, then they're going to be left standing because it really just doesn't compare. Instant discussion based on video, easy video, just does not compare with having to do big blogs and big text back and forward between groups of people on something like LinkedIn that maybe lasts 2 or 3 days. It doesn't have that instant feel. It doesn't have that engagement to it. So I think it's really interesting, but it's challenging. I think the issue is it's challenging. So anyway, this is my Periscope for today. I do a Periscope 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock every morning. I call it #Cams Hour, and Cams Hour is connecting Cambridgeshire business with the world. Cambridgeshire business is a bit slow in this game. I think I'm about the only Periscoper that's Periscoping actively from Cambridgeshire at the moment. And I'm certainly about the only person that's blabbing. But hey, I don't mind. I think it's good. And I've really enjoyed meeting up with all my friends and colleagues on these channels. This whole Periscots tribe didn't exist 3 or 4 weeks ago, and no one knew each other. And now you've got a really active little group of enthusiasts who are doing this thing seriously and also having a bit of fun and enjoyment out of it as well. So I think it's a big thing. I think it's going somewhere, and I do welcome you onto my scope. The next session, my next session is starting at 10 o'clock. It's on Blab, so it's blab.im. And if you go into Blab, hi Angus. Oh, good to have you on board, Angus. Well, we're moving away from LinkedIn a little bit, Angus. I've been talking about Periscope and Blab and a little bit about Katch. I've been playing with Blab yesterday, and some of the Periscopes have been on Blab. And I've got a scheduled Blab coming up at 10 o'clock this morning. So if you want to dip into that, I'd love to see you. In fact, I'd love to see anybody on the scope wants to try out another one. Try Blab. And Blab they've taken a different approach. They haven't done it from the small screen phone tablet area. They've done it from the large screen. So you do it on your browser, and you can do it from your big screen with a video camera. It's the URL. It's blab.im. But if you just do on Google, you just Google Blab and it will come up. I think it's the second one down, and then you go into it. It's still in beta, but it is now active. There's a lot of activity on it, and people like it as well. So it's a yeah. I like my eyebrows as well. They always do that. And I haven't seen any trolls on. Blab yet. Maybe they haven't heard about it. Okay, good. So, fairly short scope this morning. I'm going to set up. I'm going to have a nice cup of coffee and prepare for a Blab at 10 o'clock. So, if you would like to join me on that, you'd be more than welcome. And I'll introduce you, and we'll try and get a bit more interaction going. I've been too successful at getting interaction going this morning, but. Yeah, I think it's going to replace the telephone. Actually, I think it's going to it changes social media. It makes social media that much more instant, and where you've got this huge change going on, this huge. Okay, we just go into Blab, and I think I'm on the business the syndicated it. They've categorized it. So I think there's technology, business, and general. So if you go onto the business tab and look down through it, you'll see the ones that are live, and then underneath the ones that are live, you'll see the ones that are coming up. And my one's on there, and as I say, it's scheduled for 10 o'clock. So you've got schedule, which is good. You don't get that on Periscope, so you get a proper schedule. And when you're doing the scope, or when you're doing the Blab, or even at the end, you can right click on the screen and you can save the video in various MP4 format. Although some of the Blabs, some of the guys on Blabs have been doing the excess. So there's one or two guys who have been doing Blabathons that have lasted about 15 hours. Just recycle the people on the screen to get up to have a comfort break and not someone else comes in. So when you look at those, you're talking about 400 meg of video to save. So I haven't bothered saving those, but it's quite a compulsive view. I'd highly recommend it. Good. Okay, so I'm going to call it to halt there. We've done about half an hour. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been a bit of a rant from me. Unfortunately, I'm not getting the engagement. That's what it is. And you've seen. I initially saw it, but I didn't realize I was seeing it when some of the people were putting the Blab onto Periscope, and the way they did that was they had their tablet looking at a screen where the Blab was taking place. So it's actually been on Periscope now quite a bit. If you spotted it, it's the four people, two at the top, two on the bottom, all talking at the same time, and that was Blab. So big question. So will Periscope exist with Blab? Will they compete with each other? Blab's with multiple people. I think what you're going to see is that your Periscopes are going to be your independent outside broadcaster, going out and be able to take walks or surf or scenery, or going out into, like your broadcaster going out into a crowd of people and interviewing people. And I think Blab will be your studio production, far simplified, but studios type production. That you've got to plan a little bit. You've got to work out who's going to be on it. You develop it like a studio event, and I think that will be the difference. I think both will work with each other. I think Periscope will have a far larger audience because of its direct link to Twitter, although Blab is linked a little bit as well. And I don't think you would move off. I think it'd be silly to move off Periscope and move to Blab. Because you don't know what other tools are coming along. If you're simply If you're simply skipping from one technology platform to another, you're going to lose it because your audience, where's your audience? Your audience is still on the last one or the one before that. So you've actually got to be sensible about moving your technology platform or your software platform and making sure that your audience is with you when you move. So interesting times. So will it be Periscope? Will it be Blab? Or will it be, using the Scottish vernacular, blether? That's what we call it, a wee blether. So I hope you join me again tomorrow. I'll be on again at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning for a wee blether. But more than that, I'll be on Blab in about half an hour. So if you'd like to come on, sign up for that and join me on that. We can have a chat and we can have a more interactive chat. See what you think. Okay, good. Well, goodbye from a slightly overcast but getting sunnier Cambridgeshire. See you tomorrow, or see you in half an hour. Thank you very much for your time. Goodbye.